Let's take a look at what that looks like. So now this might start making a little bit more sense. In the past, we just had main project in the document class. That's fine if your document class is sitting right beside the FLA. But since we've moved that into a package now, we need to outline the full package here. com.audleystudios.mainProject. Now what we're not going to put in there is SRC. Remember, this is the actual class path. This isn't the folder structure here. The folder structure is what we are setting when we go File, Publish Settings, and we bring up the settings for Flash. You see? Folder structure in here, but back here, actual class path. That has to match what we're doing right here inside of Flash Develop. So that might sound a little confusing. The first few times that you do it, it can feel a little bit weird. But the good news is that once you've set this up one time, you don't need to keep setting it up anymore. That's the beauty of working in this style. It's highly efficient. You're going to write code that is very reusable across many projects. This is really the basis, the start for you in making a really nice little code kit that you're going to be able to use across multiple projects. So I strongly encourage working in this manner. Do set up your projects this way. So that takes care of our compiling, right? Flash is going to be able to find the code. It's going to be able to find, the document class. It's going to find the constructor inside the document class, and then it's going to start compiling all of those lines of code into our Swift. But the last thing that we wanted to set up was that situation where Flash will actually put the Swift into a location of our choosing. Now that's probably the easiest part of the whole process. So looking back into our structure here, we want to pop that Swift into the deploy folder. Really easy to set up. If you jump back into the FLA and you go File, Publish Settings again, well, now we're going to make use of the Formats tab rather than the Flash tab. And inside of here, you can see that you can actually put a path into the file location for the Swift here. Now, by default, it's going to look like this. It's going to try and just put the Swift right alongside the FLA, but you don't have to let it do it that way. You can actually go in here and put a directory. So in this case, I'm going to put deploy because we want the project Swift to automatically publish into the deploy folder. So from now on, anytime that you actually compile the project, it's going to go directly into the deploy folder, and that is super handy for you because it means less copying and pasting, less dragging things around, and less chance that you're going to delete something. It's just going to be a much more organized way to work. And once you get used to it, you're not going to want to do it any other way. One of the huge advantages of doing it this way is that you're going to be able to use what is called a versioning system. One popular one is called SVN. And what it does is it basically, you can specify a folder that your versioning software should keep an eye on for you. And then anytime that you make a change in that folder, it's going to take note of it and it's going to save a copy of the files as they were before it saves a copy of the new files with your changes. So every time that you make a major edit, it's going to be able to make a version for you, which is awesome because if you run into a problem, if things like start not working the way that you wanted them to on the project, very reassuring knowing that you could actually roll the project back to an earlier version, pick it up to when it was working well, and be off to the races. It's also going to allow you to work inside of teams. Several people can have access to the same repository, and then anytime anyone is making a change, it's going to let you know. So if you're working on the same spot as that other person is, then it's going to flag for you the changes that they made and vice versa. And so you're going to be able to add on more developers and work with your friends and so forth without having to worry about, oh, what's the latest version of the file, and introducing all those kind of problems that usually would have if you were, like, say, putting them on USB keys or sharing them across a network instead of using a repository. So that's something we're going to be looking at a lot more. I apologize that my demo didn't work in class. I'm hoping that I've got that problem fixed now. Yeah, so that is kind of the premise behind what we covered inside of the production skills portion of the class. And I know I went kind of fast with this, but as I say, it's like the third time I've tried to do it. So you're just going to have to forgive me on that one. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in class. So if there's anything that you want to cover a little bit more in depth on this, then feel free to let me know. Hopefully this will be a nice refresher for you guys that were able to make it, and for anyone that couldn't make it, then hopefully you won't be lost when we start the next class up. So feel free to check it out. Let me know of any questions that you have. And for the next class, basically a little overview, we're going to keep working with our existing project, but we're going to start making additional objects. We're going to start taking some of those methods that are in our document class and actually moving them out into completely separate classes. This way we're going to be able to see how to set up the relationships between objects and get them talking to each other. That's going to be a really good step. And if everyone is, familiar enough with the concept of packages, then we might take a look at some interesting animation code that you can make use of now that you know how to use these packages. So it should be a pretty good class. I think at this point we're going to start really taking off with some cool stuff. So look forward to seeing you guys later in the week. Take care.